Sir John was the one who went out there and found Alan Chastanet and said, I want you to be Minister of Tourism for this country. So Alan did not come from nowhere and just emerge there. Sir John always scouting for the best persons to do things for the country. He knew the importance of the tourism industry to the economy of St. Lucia. And even when Alan was nowhere involved in the politics, Sir John brought him in and made him a minister in the government of the United Workers' Party. And the budget that he asked Sir John for the first 3 years, Sir John guaranteed him that he would get the budget of the 50 million that he requested to bring the tourism industry to where it was. So, Alan Chastanet is not a misfit. Alan Chastanet was brought into UWP by the vision of Sir John, who knew that this was a man with great potential for the advancement of the economy of this country. So all our persons who are out there and hearing this, just remember, Sir John made the best choices he felt he could have made at the time. He chose Vaughan. Vaughan was not the best choice for me. That's why that one time I did not vote UWP. I voted Labour was when Vaughan was leader of the United Workers' Party. I'm not ashamed to say this. I think I have an objective view of things. So I want to say to all Flabo supporters, this is the United Workers' Party. This is the party of Sir John. We have modernized the party because that is what is required in the 21st century. You cannot do things the way you did it in 1979 and 1980 and 1995. This is a modern era, and we have a leader who holds true to the values of what United Workers' Party stands for, which is the growth and development of St. Lucia and its people. And there's no better leader in St. Lucia today to do so than Alan Michael Chastanet. And let me just add on this. The same people who wanted to see the demise of the UWP, who wanted to see the demise of Sir John, what did the lady have to say about that at the time? Go back to the record. See what she had to say. Today you teaming up with the same persons who did all of them. Look at who are the persons endorsing. Rufus, Richard, Mondesi, this one, that one. Oh, look at them. So anybody would think that this endorsement is a genuine endorsement. No, it's convenience. And this United Workers' Party is the United Workers' Party of Sir John. Who brought me into the politics? I begged Sir John for me not to run. I didn't beg him to run like somebody like Richard wants to force himself into the Labour Party and into UWP, and he wants to run at any cost. When Sir John asked me to run, I said, no, Sir John, find somebody else. Whoever you find, I will support that person. I'm not interested in running politics. Who brought Spider into the fray? Who brought Ezekiel in? So, who brought Alan Chastanet in? Who brought Edmond Estefan in? So, That's not the party. If that's not the party, these people were handpicked by Sir John to run elections. You remember how long we could not name the candidate for Babono because we had to wait for Ezekiel's retirement things to go through and for him to give his notice to the school. So, if I go through the list of candidates who are there, the core of the last group of persons who Sir John handpicked, I didn't go through a runoff. I didn't go through a set of candidates to make a determination. We had one meeting in the Bexon school with a group. Sir John said, "You the candidate." That was it. So, who are the persons? So, how can somebody come out today and say, "Oh, that's not the party of Sir John, that's not the UWP, that's not what Sir John stood for"? Sir John was the one who brought us in. The vision plan that was done with the involvement of Alan Chasney as the Minister of Tourism, because the development plan for St. Lucia focused a lot on the tourism sector. The quadrant development plan, everything that we have. And Alan Chasney knows this plan inside out. So he has modeled a lot of the things that we propose to do as the United Workers' Party through the leadership and the time that we spent working with Sir John. Because it was not just the few months that we won the election that we worked with Sir John. Remember from the convention in Soufrière, when Sir John emerged as leader, Sir John had his team working with him. The amount of information that Sir John shared with me that he never shared with Stevenson King, I was surprised. When Sir John wanted to choose Charlemagne to be the candidate for Soufrière, I was the one Sir John invited into his office in the boulevard to have that. That's the first time I met Mr. Charlemagne. So, when I hear people, now, you see, you have information that I have information at my disposal that I can use, but I will not compromise my relationship with other people, my integrity, and the ability of people to trust me just to prove other people wrong. I don't need to prove anybody wrong. I know that they are wrong. I know that all of this is geared towards fighting. You think Sir John, you know how much they pushed Sir John to dissolve the cabinet, the parliament? When we went through the struggle of the UWP, they think I don't know. I knew all the people who are behind it. I know all the people who are pushing it. But you know what? Sir John always knew that St. Lucia was better. You know what Sir John said to me? Sir John said to me, as a young man, I had to fight the Bernards. At this age in my life, I had to come back and fight a Bernard again. And I'm asking you to help me. I need you on my team to help me fight these people, because all they have been doing is destroying this country that I took so many years to build. You forget about why the Lakai police station was built. People don't know that history. They don't know how much Sir John did for this country. And he said in his latter years, he had to come back to fight another Bernard who was destroying this country. And he said to me, and that is what moved me to come. He said, I'm not doing this for myself. I'll be gone soon. It's for y'all, the younger people. Y'all are the ones I'm doing this for. I'm rescuing St. Lucia from the hands of Kenny Anthony for the younger people, for the people like you. And other people will stand on the sideline, not raise a finger to help the UWP win elections. And you going to want to side with Labour, where Sir John was willing to sacrifice his life to take St. Lucia out of the hands of the St. Lucia Labour Party, and I'm supposed to side with you all on this. Well, let me tell you, I'm on the same side with Sir John. I know Alan Chasney is on the same side. I know Ezekiel Joseph is on the same side. I know Leonard Spider Montoute is on the same side. I know Edmond Estefan is on the same side. All of us, we were there. We were in the struggle from 2006, and we are still here in 2021, advancing the agenda and the plans of the United Workers' Party. I remember that famous budget speech by Sir John, when he said, I will be there with you. I may take you to the top of the mountain, but I may not be there with you in the promised land. But I am leaving you a vision and a plan to take St. Lucia to where it needs to go. And that is the plan. That is part of the plan that Alan Chasney is implementing today. So that is as much the UWP when Sir John was the leader as it is today with Alan Chasney as the leader. So let me give you an example of why this is Alan Chasney's, Sir John's UWP, more than when Stephenson King was the leader. Because I tell these people, don't play these games. Who fired Rufus Busquet? And who brought him back to the cabinet?
It wasn't me on both cases.
Who was vexed against Stephenson King for bringing Rufus back to the UWP after Sir John had fired him?
Rufus.
And I'm sure Rick spoke about that. If he did not speak about it, it's in his book.
His wife.
Who delivered the letter? Who brought the letter to Sir John to sign for fire in Rufus? It took Alan Chasney to come in at the helm of the UWP to restore the integrity of the United Workers' Party by getting rid of the people who Sir John never wanted inside the United Workers' Party. And today you all want to come and talk about this is not the UWP. So the Stephenson King UWP with Richard Frederick, Keith Mondesi, and Rufus Busquet, that was Sir John's UWP.
And as I was saying earlier, all of those you see suddenly coming out, the crabs and the mongoose and the whatever, coming out now at this time, all of them seem to have just one thing in common: a vendetta, a hatred for, a dislike for Alan Chasney. All of them.
Remember, there was that same dislike for Sir John. There are some people who hated Sir John with a passion.
Yeah.
You know why? Because of how decisive he was as a leader. Sir John did not beat around the bush. When Sir John had to make decisions, he made decisions in the best interest of St. Lucia. And anytime you are a decisive leader, like Alan Chasney, so Steve was everybody's yo-yo. Everybody used to control him. Everybody, this one tell him that one tell. It was like a yo-yo. He was like a yo-yo being played all over the place. Everybody felt there was Prime Minister with Steve as leader. But under Alan Chasney, UWP has one leader and one prime minister, and that is Alan Michael Chasney.
Well, folks, 11:27 p.m., just about 33 minutes left before it's midnight, and we cut off, and all campaigning
I
is
am
done.
gone from y'all.
But just before you go, Mr. Minister, as I was stating before, and it started, I predicted it. Folks, look out for the propaganda and lies, the last-ditch attempt tomorrow to mess with your minds with all kinds of nonsense and to make you believe all kinds of foolishness. There's this nonsense going around about ballots being found in the trunk of a car of somebody related to some government minister. The usual nonsense. The usual nonsense. There's also another one which is purportedly written, and it's on Facebook, by a 44-year-old mother of 3 lovely children. Bunch of nonsense. Talking about corruption, about lands, about the Queen's, not the Queen's Chain, the acquisition of lands down there, Anse Jean-Beth. All the nonsense that has been pushed, all the talking points of the Labour Party coming up on the eve of elections, clearly to mess with people's minds. Even in that case, it is clear that the beginning of that Anse Jean-Beth thing with all of that land down there was by the SLP.
So, Norbert, before I leave, anytime you have men start speaking about stealing elections, they are losing.
Yeah.
That's right.
It is obvious that the Labour Party, it is clear,
They've seen the writing.
and they are convinced that they are losing the
Yes.
election.
Yes.
Don't mind what you hear. In my constituency today, they brought in a whole set of vehicles from outside to try and make it look like they have some strength. You think I'm concerned about that? You think I'm worried about that? Why are they so fearful? Why all of a sudden Richard Frederick is talking about who is here and who's there? I can show you the Labour Party manifesto about who has connections with the Russians, you know.
Let's see.
It's not me that, I don't know if I can get that. I don't even remember what page. But they said they were going
That's
to
from which year?
2011.
2011.
The new, who would they form alliances with? They were not going to remain with, just with the tradition.
2011, there's no mention of Russians in there.
Yes, ma'am. I'm telling you, 2011, I've read it here before, where they spoke about the new alliances they would form. All right. The SLP will seek new investors from non-traditional sources like the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. That's on page 10 of the manifesto.
Page 10.
Yes,
Okay. 2011?
2011.
Okay.
Okay? So, when you hear them talking about all of these things, everybody knows, St. Lucia, our alliances are with the US. Everybody knows which party that is leaning towards the communists, the persons who are more leaning in this direction.
But
Not the United Workers' Party.
how could someone just come out with that type of information, actually calling out someone's name, saying that they found that individual with 2,300 ballot pick sheets has been arrested, and this is all false. This thing's
Fake. But that's what they do best. Fake news. Propaganda.
This country go nowhere.
And in my constituency,
and then it's your cousin.
but we are going, well, if they want to see that, we will still beat Labour by more than 2,300 votes.
I mean, come on, man. This is not
Listen, it's working at the printery and his guy's cousin.
this guy's cousin is looking at the bridge.
I think there's a photo too, you know, of
Yeah,
somebody
they
there.
put the man's photo
You saw the
on.
photo? These people are something else, you
These
know.
things have to stop in this country.
Yeah, but you're afraid of
The country
that.
of no of law, man.
The law.
You saw that? There's a
Well,
photo
they
there,
just
you know.
made it easier for me to win the election.
This is a country of law. This thing
That's
has
your
to
cousin?
stop, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put a picture of somebody there lying.
You know how many years this man has worked as an elections officer?
Yeah,
Oh, so they're trying to sabotage him.
yeah.
You know how many years? All elections I have run, and from before I started running elections, we are not the ones who select any of these persons to work. I didn't choose my returning officer. I did. So, but you see, desperation.
Yeah, yeah.
The Labour Party, the writing is on the wall
Yeah, they see
that
it.
y'all are going to lose this election very bad.
They know
Badly.
They know
So you want to put doubt in the minds of people about who does voter pardon, who moved voters around the last time. The last time we lost elections, the Labour Party had moved my voters all over the place. I don't worry myself with these things, you know. I do enough work and I have enough votes that anything they try, I will overcome it. You know why? Because the people know where they are voting. So today, of all times,
Yeah, at 11 o'clock.
you going to accuse Guy Joseph or try. If I have to steal an election against Joachim, I'd rather lose.
Especially that type of person.
If Guy Joseph have to do any underhand thing to win this election against a candidate like this, I'd rather lose.
So you notice what time they put in that place probably.
Yeah, late night, so you ain't gonna
When
see it in
nothing else
time.
tomorrow, you cannot campaign, you
That's
have
right,
to bomb
that's
it.
right.
So they put it at 11 o'clock.
That's right.
Sky FM is still on.
That's right, we still here.
So,
Sky FM is still on.
so let me tell you, that's desperation. So they already know. We have predicted that we are going to win this seat by more than 2,500 votes from our canvassing and all of. Let me tell you, the last time we won by 1,000 something. Remember, against Timothy Mangal, I only won by 115 or 118 votes. That's why we had a recount. Against Joachim in 2016, I won by over 1,200
Well, he
votes.
gave him more licks this time.
Okay?
He getting more licks
So
than ice cream.
This time, we have targeted a
3,000.
victory by about 2,500 votes.
So that's what
they'll
they
come and
targeting.
tell you, oh, they have
2,500.
what?
Ah,
So you
I
can
see.
add that number of votes to the number of people.
And not notice.
I mean, let me say something to people.
Silly.
You know, when I look at the electoral system that we have here, it's not easy to steal elections in St. Lucia, you know. You see what happened in Grozily and what happened in Bamono is that the returning officers who are responsible in this area. There was a lot of debate about which vote that's a good vote and which vote that's not a good vote. And then in the case of Ezekiel, how could you win by a percentage and then the following day you lose, but the voter tally that is changed from not being good to good does not tally with the number of votes that your opponent gets. So obviously there was some machinations that took place inside there. But for Labour Party, Richard knows that he is losing. So he is already crying foul.
Crying wolf.
Stevenson King will lose. I expect him to lose. He may do better than Richard Frederick, but not good enough for him to win.
Licks.
Okay? So obviously, all of you heard them talking about what's the thing? Analytica, what?
Cambridge Analytica.
Cambridge
My
Analytica.
gosh. That's so
There's a lot of
pathetic.
people that don't know what
That's so pathetic.
So not that same Stevenson King who was accused in 2011 of these same things.
This is
You see?
incredible.
That's why I tell people, anytime.
But not just accused, you know. He said Cambridge Analytica is here, right? He said so, and they're being paid by the St. Lucia Tourism Authority. And he goes further to say, but I tell you more, that they were here in 2011, not realizing that they were here in 2011, and he was the prime minister at the time. So, I mean, it's so ridiculous, in such desperation, that you implicate in your own self in the accusations that you're making now. But the thing is, when you try to mama guy and bluff people, you just throw stuff out there that you believe has been
Something
a
will
topic,
stick.
failing to realize that Cambridge Analytica went defunct in 2018. It doesn't exist anymore. I mean, yes, 2018. So that is to show you how ridiculous.
So Stevenson King is out of sync. Was done
Me say plus was passé pied.
have to be wisdom there.
My gosh,
Something that
man.
doesn't exist, you bring it up.
Two inept leaders, supposedly.
That's why we don't want to bring the law and we have
So
Okay.
tonight, I want my final words to all St. Lucians. Your future is in your hands tomorrow. You have seen where we are taking this country. Even in the midst of COVID, this government has performed. Or you can go back to the Labour Party, who every time you have given them another opportunity, they have failed.
Made a mess.
And now you have the worst of the worst leaders that the Labour Party
Wow. Serious. That's a
ever
good
had.
one. That's a good one.
is Philip J. Pierre. And he now has to contend with Kenny Anthony, Ernest Healy, Richard Frederick, and Stevenson King.
And don't forget the...
These people will spend more time fighting among themselves.
yes. No
we
doubt.
cannot have a coalition government in this country. And if you vote Labour, you will end up with a coalition government.
But how you
that
talk-
will not last.
But how you talk about a coalition before you've had the elections? The elections are called, and then you decide to come together. But they're talking about a coalition even before you have elections.
Yes.
This is the maddest thing I've ever heard.
I've never heard that myself. You must win.
Because the Labour Party knows on its own it cannot win this election. So they've tried to maneuver things. So St. Lucians, send a clear message tomorrow. Let there be no ambiguity in who is the government. There is one government in St. Lucia, that is the United Workers' Party, and I'm appealing to all St. Lucians to keep it that way. Send Labour Party and put the house in order. And they cannot do that because when the World Bank sent them to do it, they could not do it.
That's right.
They cannot put their political house in order. They could not put their financial house in order. These are desperate fellas for power, not to do anything for the people, but to take care of themselves. You have a government today that is taking care of you. Vote the United Workers' Party tomorrow, bright and early. Stay on the line. If they move you from one polling station to another,
Go on the line.
But vote and send a clear message that we would rather stay with the United Workers' Party than go back to the failed persons of
dark
the
days.
St. Lucia Labour Party.
Dark days.
Good night, and thank you.
Thank you
for
very much,
having
Mr.
me.
Minister. Guy Joseph here, folks. Guy Joseph here, folks. Leaving the studio now, 11:41, 19 minutes before 12 o'clock. 19 minutes left. 19 minutes left. You staying here, Champagne, until you coming in the hot seat. Yeah, welcome to the club.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Good night, sir. Thank you for the great work.
Think
you all
it's
have done.
joke. Zopawe, way, Zopawe, way, we go powe, anale, yo wo mi twaka, flabo kabayotika, when do you wo mi twaka, flabo kabayotika, but wo mi twaka, flabo kabayotika, uwe pour election la, flabo kaviye kwesa, depuis election we ve, c'est mon agneau.
Sorry about that, folks. That little rise in the volume there. Hope it didn't blow out your ears if you had headphones on. Folks, we've come to the point. After all the campaigning, after all that has been done, after all that has been said, the time is nigh. It's almost time for us to deal with the issues. No more talk, no more grand charge, no more fluff, no more bluff, no more being tired of the BS and the nonsense of the St. Lucia Labour Party. The time to act is now. Tomorrow, in just a few minutes, it will be tomorrow, you will get the opportunity to send a loud and clear message for the world to see what St. Lucia is all about. That St. Lucia can deal with the issues. That 5 years of doom and gloom, 5 years of the 3 B's principle, bullshit baffles brains, 5 years of Mickey Mouse nonsense from the St. Lucia Labour Party has come to an end. And you, the people of St. Lucia, will send that message loud and clear at the polls tomorrow. And for what they're doing and what they planned in St. Lucia to happen in St. Lucia, you and I will make them pay. The constant obstruction, the constant impediments, the constant sullying of St. Lucia's name under the pretext, under the guise of being patriots, when all they were, when all they are patriots, when the Chagouin pouvoir encourage them, entice them to do everything in their power to sabotage the image of this country. When they wrote letters to the foreign press, to foreign governments and organizations, all in a bid to sabotage St. Lucia's image, to bring pressure on St. Lucia. When they didn't mind burning down St. Lucia just so that they could rule over the ashes. When we witnessed all of this, the urge, the hunger, the greed for power, it was not lost on the people of St. Lucia. You saw it, but you remained silent. You remained observant. But now is your time. Now is your time to send that message, to say we've been watching you, to say we know everything that you did. We know what you were up to, and we don't like it, and we're not going to take it anymore. That time is slowly approaching. 14 minutes to go. 14 minutes to destiny. 14 minutes when some of those washed up revolutionaries, those washed up losers who couldn't put a proper plan together to handle the affairs of state of St. Lucia, remained in government. When they made a mess of everything and thought they were experts and want to dictate to this government with their failed policies and their failed plans, when they were unsuited to handle the affairs of St. Lucia, in their state of unpreparedness and incapability, they believe that they are the brain boxes and the master planners for St. Lucia. Well, we've had enough and we're not going to take it anymore. Tomorrow, in 13 minutes, it will be tomorrow. Make your way to the polls. Be prepared to stay a little longer than usual because of the new protocols for elections. Because of the weather, go with your umbrella. Take your umbrella with you. Wear light clothing. It's going to be warm tomorrow. It's going to be hot and humid. So be prepared. Take a snack. Take an energy bar, a fruit bar, something. Make a sandwich. Take a bottle of water with you. Get online and stay online until you do that. Tikwa! Your constitutional right, your right as a citizen of St. Lucia, to do what you have to do. It's come to that time, folks. I'm going to be leaving you with just a few minutes to go. Champagne in the studio. E.T., the extraterrestrial himself. Yours truly.
Good night.
Yours truly. Yours truly. Norbert right here. The man Champagne in the back. Herod downstairs. The GVD crew. We've been here keeping it real with you. Folks, that's it for tonight. Tomorrow morning I won't be in at 6 o'clock. I'll be in a little later in the morning. As soon as I vote, I'll be here to give you an update. We'll be giving you an update throughout the day and informing you as to how things are going to roll for the monitoring of the results tomorrow night. Stay safe. Go out and vote. Get your ID tonight. Get your passport, whatever you're using. It's D-Day. It's action time. Go out and exercise your franchise. Do what you have to do, folks. Do what you have to do. Good luck. See you on the other side tomorrow evening. Well, tomorrow morning I'll be here. Have a good night, folks. I'm Norbert Williams and Sky FM and all the crew. Thank you so much for being with us. Go out and vote. Call your friends, call your family, call your neighbor, whoever it is.